Hi, my friends. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here to join me. My name is Renee, and I'm an intuitive healer. It is my mission to help people to heal from codependency and to learn how to love themselves and to know their value. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how we can stop trying to get our parents' approval. I recently released a tapping video on this same subject. I'll put a link to that below in the description. And I highly recommend you pull up that video after this and tap along with that. It will really help to change this behavior. So, the reason why I'm talking about this topic again, quite simply, this is such an important topic and it is integral to healing from codependency or from narcissistic abuse. If you have this issue of trying to get your parents' approval and not getting it, and you find that you're stuck, it is really important that we address this. And I wanted to be able to speak about it freely, just in this format, instead of just the tapping script. I wanted to do both. So get comfy, just listen along. I'm going to dive into some really important things. Now, first, I just want to say that, of course, it is normal and natural to want our parents' approval when we're young. We're hardwired for that, for survival. Our parents provide us with food and clothing and shelter, our basic needs. They provide us with, hopefully, with love and nurturing and community in the family unit. But what happens when we grow up in a dysfunctional home? We grow up with narcissistic parents, or when there is addiction present. Or maybe it's not that, and it's our culture that is teaching us that we need to grow up and have certain material success and have a certain lifestyle to make the family look good, to carry on the good name of the family. So sometimes it is for that reason. So here's the thing. Sometimes, our parents did not give us what we needed when we were young. And this video, this recording, is not about saying how horrible they were and blaming parents. It's not about poor me and staying the victim, because that's not going to empower you. That's not going to help you to heal and to move forward and to feel good about yourself. I am here to bring awareness to this topic, so that you can look at yourself and look at your own experiences and look at your life and have an awareness, increased awareness of consciousness of this in yourself, which can give rise to healing, to empower you and to give you the tools to know that you can change this, that you can heal this. A lot of people struggle with this, and many times when people say, I'm stuck, I'm frustrated, things aren't moving, things aren't changing, I'm so tired of this, I keep trying, but I am stuck. And sometimes one of those reasons is that the motivation is not coming from that pure intent of whatever it is you're trying to do. Is part of that. But the other part is that there's still a wounded child within you that just wants your mom or dad to love you for who you are, to see who you are, to give you the support and encouragement, to say you can do it no matter what, and not because you never actually got that. When our parents disapprove of us, whether when we were children or as adults, sometimes that disapproval can be really overt. It's obvious. It's just a blanket statement that hits us like a ton of bricks. Other times, many times, that disapproval is delivered so skillfully and so subtly. It is like a little pinprick. You hardly even notice. You don't even realize that what they're doing is being disapproving. Until maybe if you're thinking about it and thinking about that conversation, maybe that you recently had with a parent, and you kind of analyze it a little bit and you say, wait a second, That was very subtle, underhanded disapproval, I heard. So sometimes it can be delivered that way. And oftentimes the parents who are disapproving you, either overtly or covertly, they don't realize that they're doing it. They're not trying to hurt you. They don't know any other way to be. But what this does, if we have this wound, and if we're not aware that we have this wound, it will keep us in this cycle, on this hamster wheel of trying to prove and please and perform and perfect because we feel invisible. Don't you see me? Don't you see how hard I'm trying? Don't you get it? It's that kind of feeling that you could hear in my words there. That sort of clamoring for, don't you see me? Don't you see me? I feel so invisible and I just keep trying and trying and trying. What else can I do to prove to you? It's that kind of a feeling. It's that feeling. What it does is we end up having so much self-doubt. We lack self-esteem and confidence. And we feel like we're never enough. So if you grew up with a narcissistic parent or narcissistic parents, you know that it was all about appearances. It's all about looking good. It's all about having the name brand clothes. It's all about having the right car, a nice home, the right grades, the right degree, the right lifestyle, taking vacations, all these outer expressions of success as per the world standards. But behind closed doors of that home, it's a very different story. And so we may have grown up in a situation where maybe you were a guy and you were interested in theater and creative writing and music, but you learned growing up from your father, now in this house, it's sports. We play football. None of that theater bullshit. Or maybe you were interested in foreign language and writing, communication. And you were taught, no, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. That stuff isn't important. That's stupid. Because the narcissist is teaching you what you have to do. You exist as an extension of them. You have to do what they value as being important. And oftentimes, their scope of understanding is so limited. So they put down, belittle, criticize, and bully anything other than what they understand. But their world is so small. So in effort to try to get that love and approval from them, we abandon ourselves and we try to fit that mold. Okay, all right, well, I won't study communications and journalism. Instead, I'm going to, maybe pursue law or engineering. I can do that. That's the responsible thing to do, right? I can make a good living doing that, and that's what I should do, right? My friends, I have done a similar thing. I have said very similar words to myself at one point, and it took me a long time of peeling back all these layers of other people's voices to find out who I was, what I wanted, where I wanted to go, and what my life path was, because I was listening to someone else's voice. And this is the case for a lot of people. I'm not unique. And if you're listening to this, chances are you can relate. The biggest point, and I said this in the tapping script, and I want to say it here, and put 3 exclamation points after this. Your parents' disapproval has nothing to do with you. Nothing. And has everything to do with them. Their disapproval of you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And it has to do with their own limited view of the world. It is not your duty. It's not your obligation. It's not your effing job to be who they want you to be. When you learn this, you learned to not take responsibility for you, but for somebody else, for someone else's happiness. And that is a great disservice to you. This is really heavy, I know. I'm a little chuckle here and there because this is a tough topic, and I know, I get it. But if we can see this and fracture this lesson and let a little bit of light in, we can start to heal it. And we can start to not let it control us. When you grow up trying to please someone else, it's like you're cutting yourself off at the knees, but you don't know it. You don't realize that you have the ability to take full responsibility. That came out weird. That you can take full responsibility for who you are, for your innate power. You are a fully functioning adult. But when you grow up with a narcissistic parent or two, you learn to be dependent. You learn to not develop yourself and that you can't do it. You learn that love is conditional. You learn that love comes through sacrificing who you are to blend in with someone else and what they want and who they think you should be. So, don't listen to all that. Don't continue on that path. And you have to start to develop within yourself when you identify and learn, what do you like? What do you want? What is your life path? And that may be clear or it may be fuzzy right now. But notice the voices that you hear in your head that I referred to a moment ago. Whose voice is that? That voice that says to you, you're not enough. That's not good enough. You can't make money doing that. You don't have your act together. Get your shit together. All of that stuff. That's not your voice. That's not coming from your higher self. That's not your true self. That's layer upon layer upon layer of shit you learned and accumulated from wounded parents who never worked out and healed their own stuff. So we have to cut these energetic cords. You have to learn to put boundaries around your mind. First, you got to notice that you're doing it, that you're saying those things. Catch yourself. And when you do, stop it in its tracks and don't allow it to continue. Don't feed it. Don't jump into that river that says all of those negative things. That feeling that says, I have to prove I'm not a loser. I have to prove that I'm not a failure. I have to show them. No, you don't. You don't have to do a damn thing, but be true to yourself. And to remember that your value and your worth are inherent. It doesn't come from them. It doesn't come from anyone. You already have it. It is already within you. So when you notice that negative, critical, nasty voice in your head, identify it and call it out for who and what it is. That's the past. That's the conditions of your earlier life. And don't listen to it. Remember that it is your only job, your only job is to be true to yourself and to your soul's path. And it is your job to be who you are. You came into this life with a unique purpose, with unique gifts, and maybe no one in your family understands that, or gets it, or likes it, or agrees with it. It doesn't matter. Follow that, and you will find others who resonate. Again, cut the energetic cords. Visualize a giant pair of scissors cutting that etheric cord. Trust your intuition. Keep your mind pristine. That is a sacred space, and you and only you decide who is allowed in that space. Someone else's limitations, your parents' limitations, do not have to become yours. And up until now, you may have allowed that to be the case, but you don't have to continue it. So remember who you are. Remember, you are unique and you came here for a reason. You came here for a certain purpose, and allow yourself to be true to that. And don't listen to the negativity. Don't listen to that little hook that says you have to please them. You have to be who they want you to be. You know what? It doesn't matter if they approve of you or not. You are not that wounded child anymore. You are healing and you are growing. You don't need their approval anymore. You don't need them to love you. You are a fully functioning adult. Of course, it's always nice if they do. But to believe that you need it in order to function and be okay in the world is not true. You need to give that to yourself. And you can. And you're beginning to. That is my message for today. I hope that this helped. Please do visit my tapping video on the same subject. It'll really help you by speaking out loud and tapping on the points. It will help to clear this out. Repeat it often. About once a week. Because sometimes this issue can creep back in without us knowing. Because this is something that is long worn and something we learned a long time ago. So, give yourself a big hug. This is tough stuff. And I commend you for having the courage to work on this. All right? Stay strong. Keep moving forward. Big hug, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.